All right, Brown family, want to get you the latest and greatest on what's going on with Jade and her force fetch. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to send you a video on this. I've had a couple of things happen and I want to get us caught up where we are in the process. So last time I did a video, we had just introduced the idea of e-collar fetch. Jade did great with this. She had no problems with e-collar fetch. And so the next video I was going to send you the next week, Jade absolutely blew up. She refused to fetch anything. She was incredibly defiant. I didn't even know if she was the same dog. And then, so I was kind of trying to figure out what to do with her and back up and try to make sure she was successful. And we did some of that to backtrack. And then about 2 days later, she started her heat cycle. So boom, there you go. And that happens, especially with females when they have that heat cycle. Sometimes they just, you know, they're hormonal and they get weird. There's just no other way to say it. Sometimes they get a little weird. So I wasn't totally sure how she was going to act through the cycle. Once she's kind of gotten into it, she's still bleeding. And the boy dogs are going nuts about her right now. So we're still in her cycle. So a lot of times we don't even, I kind of try to see how they handle it. Looks like she was weird before she started her heat cycle, and now she seems to be hunky-dory and just fine. So I thought we'd go ahead and get going back again. We did some fun days of retrieving, doing marks. She loves that, of course. But we wanted to kind of get back in the groove here with force fetch. So Jade hit a roadblock with force fetch, and the roadblock was that she did not want to pick up a bumper unless she had seen me set it down. Like, I could set anything down, and we're using real bumpers now. If I set it down, if she saw me set it down, she'd pick up anything. And actually, I'm going to tip the camera down here just a little bit so we can see her a little better and the ground in front of us a little bit better. But she was picking up everything very, very well. So if I just set it down, said fetch, heel, sit, give, she was aces. Didn't matter where I put it. You know, I could set it right in front of her. I could set it 8 feet in front of her. Fetch, heel, sit, give, and she was great. The thing that threw her was what happened when I put down bumpers in a line. And what I mean by that is we generally do a process called walking fetch, where we have a bumper. Let's see if I can fit it on camera right. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Jade. No. So say we had a couple of bumpers like this. Heel, sit, give, girl. Fetch, heel, sit, give. That was what she struggled with. Now, she's doing much better with this now. So I'm just gonna drop these behind me kind of casually. She knows exactly what I'm doing, right? But the idea is we want her to pick them up even though she did not see me set them down. So Jade, fetch, heel, give, Jade, fetch, heel, sit, yeah, good dog. So this is what we call walking fetch. The idea is we want to be able to walk the dog at heel, sit, give, and pick up bumpers in a line. Now, for whatever reason, that was Jade's roadblock. And I wasn't totally sure if I was gonna have to wait till the end of her heat cycle to get through that, but she seems to have come through it great. Now, the idea is we want her to pick them up in a line like this, and then eventually what we want her to do is we want to be able to place a pile of them. Okay, and so this is the transition from force fetch into what we call force to pile. So the idea is if she's comfortable picking them up in a line, right? So if I have one here and then one in front of her, she was picking those up. Well, now I can take several bumpers, and we're gonna set them in a pile right here. Scoot back just a little bit. See him on camera here. Good girl, Jade. Jade, fetch, heel, sit, give, fetch, heel, sit, give, fetch, heel, sit, give, fetch, heel, sit, give. And right there, every time I said fetch, with the exception of the last one, I was applying that low nick on the collar so that she feels just a tiny little flick on the neck telling her to go. Now, so when we start to transition into force to pile, I'm still using the word fetch. Now, when we get into the actual game of casting, we want to get away from using the word fetch, and we're gonna, we want to start talking about direction, okay? Now, force to pile always starts with getting the dog to go straight away from us. The word we use to send the dog straight away from us is back, all right? So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set up the same thing, and only I'm going to change the word very slightly. I'm going to say fetch back, all right? And then what I'm going to do is throughout this, we're going to do 4 reps, I'm going to phase out saying the word fetch. All right, so we're going to try to transition her away from hearing that word to now we're talking about I want to send her in a direction. All right, so this is going to be force to pile using the back command. Heel, sit. Again, we'll pile them right up here. The other thing I'm going to do, because Jade has seen this a couple of times now, the other thing we're going to do is I'm going to extend the distance. So when she goes to the pile, I'm going to walk backwards. Right? Jade, fetch, back. Yep. Girl. You sit. Yeah. Good girl. Jade, back. Sit. Yeah. Back. Here. Back. Girl. Heel. Sit. Yeah, good job. All right, so just like that, we have now taught Jade the back command with the idea of going to a pile. Now, she did really well, so I'm gonna give her, hey, we'll go give her a fun one. Sweet mercy, she loves the fun ones. Girl, Jade. Heel. Sit. Yeah, good job. All right, so we really kind of got over the hump of picking things up without having me thrown it there. That was her big roadblock. So Jade has come along nicely through this process. Now going through, we can start her on force to pile, and we'll keep extending the distance out. So the idea is we're gonna run from all the way back to that pond dam back there, hopefully by the end of this week. Sit. Yeah, good girl. So, Jade is coming along nicely. Haven't had any issues lately. She is definitely rocking and rolling again. I think we're on the downhill slide of her heat cycle. The boys are still going nuts about her, but all in all, Jade's doing great. Has really come along nicely.